I almost feel like we should take a shot before this.
I know.
Do you want to?
No, I don't.
All right, here we go. All right, well, cheers to this. See how this goes. All right, what's up, you guys? Today I have my dad here, Steve Carlson. Say hello.
Hi, glad to meet you.
And today we're going to be kind of talking about when I came out to you, kind of like story leading up to it, how it happened, what your impressions of it were. We've never talked about this before. Like, I don't think we've ever really had like a formal discussion about this.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I have with other people.
Okay.
I've shared my thoughts with other people, other gay people that I've known, and they've told me how did I react when you did come out.
Yeah.
So yeah, first time with you though.
Okay, yeah, this is good. I'm glad we have the shot in us. Okay, but first question from me.
Okay, just a real check. I'm an emotional person, so I apologize if I get emotion during this. This is a big section here.
Yeah, and I respond to emotion, so I get emotion when other people do. But how'd you find out? Who told you? I know Mom told you.
So I can remember it very clearly. I had come home, I think, from a business trip.
Yeah. And
I got home late. I think it was like a Friday night. I went to bed, and your mom said, "Hey, I got some big news." And she was saying, "Okay, now I want you to take a deep breath, be calm." But I just had a conversation with Dylan, and Dylan shared with me that he was gay. So that was it wasn't so much it was a shock, it was a surprise. I didn't see this coming whatsoever. You know, to me, there was no signs of that. You know, I always remember the song.
Remember when I did the splits and
well,
my gymnast in elementary school.
I just, okay, that's good. That's
go.
Good.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of the song, I think it's Same Love.
Yeah.
That he goes, but whatever, you've liked kids since before you were, I don't know what the exact lyrics was, but it was the same thing, because it was always the friendship like he had with Rebecca or whatever. You know, I mean, it was just, and I remember so many times at the schoolyard, you were infatuated with all these cute little girls. You know? So it was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah. And I remember on my end of it, my story. Yeah,
okay,
you've never heard this.
Okay.
Because I told Mom, and that was the whole story. I told Mom, and I was like, okay, I don't want you to tell Dad.
Why?
It's just, and it's nothing to do with you. It's nothing. It's whenever I get this from like a lot of my straight friends who are like, oh, why didn't you tell me sooner? And I feel like it's an insecurity on their part where they're like, oh, is it me not perceiving my way in a way that's like gay friendly? And it's really never that. It's a lot of the time just like personal insecurities, personal fears. You don't know how the dynamic of the relationship's going to change, and it's just like when you're a gay kid and you're freaking out about every single possibility of what's going to happen. So it's never the other person. Whenever I come out to someone, or like back in the day, I always kind of like reassure them later, or if they think someone else is gay and they're not telling them, I'm like, it's not you. You're doing great. Don't pressure them about it, or force them to say anything. It's like they'll do it on their own terms, but this is what's going through their head.
Okay.
But for me, told Mom, and
I'm glad we're having this conversation, because we haven't talked about this.
No, we've never talked about
this. Is interesting. Okay.
So told Mom, and then I was like, I don't want you to tell Dad right now. And then you came back from that business trip, I remember, and I'm doing my morning routine, getting ready for school. I was a sophomore in high school at this time. And Mom comes out and she's like, hey, I just want you to know, Dad came home last night and I told him you were gay. And I was like, and I like really was pretty flustered. I wasn't mad or anything. I was just like, okay. I remember going to school, and I just remember being in history class and like, just like living life through like a glass box of just like, what's going on? I just was like so in my head. And then was just terrified to come home. And it's like, I knew, like, I was just terrified of, it wasn't going to be bad. I knew it wasn't going to be bad. I was just terrified of like, hey, how's this going to work now? And I remember like being in history class, my teacher would like call me, and I would just like literally like wouldn't even respond. And then Dylan, and I'm like, what? And then
in another world.
And I remember coming back home. I remember getting off the bus, walking home, and I like stood in the garage for like 30 minutes.
This was after Mom knew, and then she told me, so you were afraid to come in.
I was scared because I knew you were inside.
how did it, I don't want to divert the conversation away from me, whatever. How did you decide to tell mom?
It was spontaneous. We were in a fight.
Oh,
we were in a fight.
Okay, I don't remember this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell that after, but I remember coming home and then eventually like mustering up the courage and opening the garage door to come inside, and I didn't see you. You weren't there. And I started just doing my like normal after school ritual of getting mini wheats, pouring mini wheats out, and like going to watch Friends. And I remember as I'm opening the pantry and grabbing the mini wheats like a horror movie, I close it and you have just appeared.
Now I remember this being in the evening, like late in the evening.
It was right when I got home from school. Yeah.
Okay.
Because then I remember this. I go and you don't say anything. You're like, how was your day? You don't bring it up right away.
Yeah.
And then I go and I start watching my show. I think I was watching like Friends or something.
Yeah.
In my show, and like right when I hit play, you come down, you turn off the TV, and then you sit down on the couch.
I remember sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
And I remember in our living room.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yeah. What do you remember what you said?
Well, I remember a couple things, and the part that I was so disappointed at, that I was getting so emotional. And the main part I think I was getting emotional part was a couple things. I remember saying something like, hey, no matter what you do or are or whatever, I love you. I think I started with that. Yeah. Making it crystal clear that I still love you tremendously. And then I thought the part that I shared with you, the reason I was so emotional was, as parents, we always want our kids to have like the easiest life in the world. There's a little bit of, you got to have tough love to get through this world. But in an ideal world, you'd win the lottery and you'd get whatever you want, live in la la land or whatever. So the part that I was concerned about was life was going to be more challenging for you. And I remember having that conversation or whatever, people being prejudiced or making fun of you or teasing you or not having the opportunity to get a job or something. Just the whole society and prejudice at that time. It's gotten a lot better since then. Yeah. It was even better then than it was like 5 years before that. But
what was your impression of gay people before me?
Okay, now that's let me go there. I'm going to be full disclosure on this.
Safe space.
And don't hold anything against me. But I feel a product of my environment. I remember having conversations.
Yeah, where did you grow up, first of all?
So I grew up in Livingston, Montana. Small town, 8,000 people. All white, very conservative. And so, but I think in high school and college, I remember people that we suspected in our group that were gay, and, they were teased. Yeah. They were not normal. And I remember then going and having friends. This was after I graduated. I don't remember it really coming up much when I was going to college. I remember when moved to Dallas and having friends and having conversations. I remember some specific conversations with friends talking about that. And my view of it was, no, that's not right. You look at biology, they can't have kids together. Yeah. So that just, to me, like that's not right. Yeah. So I think one of the benefits from that you taught me was that then you opened a whole different world to me and made me start to look at it from a different perspective. And that different perspective was, you're my son. So then I started to research it, both from a society perspective as well as a religious perspective. So I remember.
How religious were you at this point?
We belonged to the United Methodist Church. I thought it was more, your mom was more on that.
Mom was definitely, yeah.
I remember getting value from going to church and Bible studies, but I just didn't feel comfortable in that environment. So that actually this kind of forced me to kind of figure out, where am I religiously? So when I started to research how quote unquote Christians and how the Bible perceived I started to be very against religion, not just Christianity, but all religion seems to be very not friendly towards gays. So that really took me away from being religious and very kind of anti-religious because of what a lot of the majority of those, all religions were.
Yeah, you started slowly becoming like very aggressive on, not aggressive, but like lashing back out of those like Facebook posts or.
Yeah, well, so then I'd even like look at it, well, you know, is it quote unquote, are you born that way?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it society that makes you that way? So I started doing a lot of research on that. And there was a lot of research that said society made you that way. But the reason is that it was Christian funded research that led to the ending that they wanted or whatever. So, you know, now I see a lot more neutral research saying, well, no, it is a product of who you are, how you were born, how you know, I'm sure there are some cases where their environment changed them. Yeah. But I believe, and what I've read is overall, it's based on who you are. That's who you are.
Yeah.
And so I just started having a hard time with religious and other people that looked at it and say against those people. I'm like, well, it's love, and it's how they were born, quote unquote. If there is a God, that's how God made them. That's how you were made.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it opened up a whole different life, a whole different view, and completely, not completely, but made me more understanding and accepting.
And I feel like that's what kind of triggered a lot of our other, like, more, like, it took like 2 years. I feel like it was a little bit of an uncomfortable year or two at first. We didn't really start having like real talks again until senior year of high school, I feel like.
Yeah. On that topic. Yeah,
well, on that topic. And I feel like on most top, like that, we didn't really have adult conversations until.
I agree. And part of it was too, I was trying to decide, is this really you? You know,
did you think I was
a phase?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a phase. Mm-hmm. You know, and then I remember other conversations your mom and I had. Did something happen? Did something happen like in one of your sporting and something
I remember
that
Mom,
we weren't shared that you didn't share with us?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm like, you know, darn it, if somebody did something to you, I'm going after them or whatever. But I don't think it was ever that way.
No.
God, there was something else that I forgot about too. I don't know. Go ahead. I'll think about this.
But I was just making a point that like, I feel like for the first 2 years, a little uncomfortable. At least very much on my end. Like I was just like, I was like, I don't know how to talk about this. And then senior year, kind of like after the divorce, and I moved away down in Texas.
Yeah.
And then when you'd come visit, we'd start actually having like more
deep conversations
about religion, gay rights, and then it started like leading to like politics. I mean, everything.
I think it also there was a couple things that I think came together. Was partly me understanding it more. Mm-hmm. The other part, you grew up a lot more. You matured a lot more. I think that coming out moment, you greatly, I think maturity is the right word for it.
Yeah.
Because then you got a lot more focus on school. You got a lot more focus on what you wanted to be and where you wanted to be, where you wanted to go.
It was kind of just like
greatly improved after coming out.
Yeah, that's right. You're like a 4L that year.
I think if you would look at other people after they came out, I bet you their grades, I'm just guessing, go down. I think it lifted a lot off your shoulders, would be my guess.
For me, it kind of inspired. I was like, okay, now I know I like have more of an idea of what when you're like, I don't know, in early high school and middle school, I was just like, all right, I'm a kid. What am I doing this weekend? Like, we're riding bikes now. Now it's like, oh, I want to, like, I can't date here. I want to go to a place where I can date.
Yeah.
And so it's like, in order to do that, I need to do good in school. I need to do this. I need to do this.
Yeah.
And then also just like, when you have to, it's a relatively big adversity for a kid to have to come out. And so I feel like when you have to face that early on in age, it's kind of like a...
But it was tough at the time, and I look back at it, anything that doesn't kill you makes you better.
Yeah.
I think that's coming out made you so much better. I'm so glad that you did it then, maybe not even sooner.
Yeah.
Versus holding that back, aren't you?
Yeah, oh, completely. I didn't plan on telling you guys till like after
But aren't you glad you did it when you did it?
100%, yeah.
But it also made you a better person, because I remember the other quote that you said when you were in college was that say, I want to be the best gay man I can be, and so other people will respect or see what gay men are all about. I want to represent, the quote unquote stellar gay man.
Yeah.
That's why I want to get good grades. That's what I want to.
Because I was surrounded by I was in like conservative countries, so I was like, okay, I want to be like as an openly gay guy.
Yeah.
I'm everyone's perception of what it means to be gay.
And my
so
my perspective on that is I think you did change people's view within your community on what a gay man is like. And they had more respect.
Yeah, I think so. One of like the biggest compliments I think I've ever received in my life was from Bo. And it wasn't even, he didn't even say it to me. I heard it in like, from a friend who was in a conversation, and they were saying, I forget how it went exactly, how like the precursor went, but there was like a homophobic conversation going on within friends in my fraternity. And they, and it was like people that had just joined the house, and I think maybe word got out that I was gay or something, and they were just like having a discussion on gay people, and it like wasn't in a positive light. And then like Bo overheard it and then was like talking with Dave and was like, well, they clearly haven't met Dylan well enough yet, and like just give him a long.
Cool.
Yeah, and I was
yeah. Let me tell you a couple other stories that I'm not proud of in that whole situation. I remember, and this isn't that terrible or whatever, but I remember having conversations with very religious people that were, I would say, leaning anti-gay. They would say, I'm okay with that. However, I don't like them shoving it down my throat. Yeah. And I kept building up over the months, having similar conversations. And finally I just said, I came unglued and I started, well, let me tell you, and I wish I would have, now I handle it differently. I try to, that I've always told you is seek to understand is, now how I handle that is like, well, tell me more. How do you feel that they're shoving it down your throat? With the hope of kind of guiding them that I don't, well, there are some, but I think the majority of the gay population isn't that way. They just want to be accepted and have the same life as straight
any other person. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's some of the lessons learned. I think I just get built up and hear all this anti-gay sentiment, and I just like,
and like default setting is just
my default setting is like, I'm going to stand up for my son. So and then after I but after I state these, I'm like, I need to be more kind of guide them through, a different view of that world. Yeah. The other part that, when I was thinking about this conversation, I was having this conversation with Tracy is,
and who's Tracy?
Tracy is my wife. Good point. Just having this conversation with, other people. And when she goes, well, when you first came out, it wasn't like I would go running down the street to my friends saying, oh, guess what, my son is gay. Over the years, it's become a lot more easier for me.
Was it difficult to tell your friends?
Well,
and like, be honest,
yeah, in two ways. One is like what you were saying when you were coming out. You didn't know how they would react to you. Yeah. And then the other way, I mean, that was the main thing. So now I feel I'm much more comfortable in saying that, and that society's more open to it. And also, after I have that conversation with many people, they're like, oh, I'm so glad you shared that. I'm not sure if my son or daughter is gay. How did your son, then they start asking me a lot more questions, so I can educate them on, more of the whole process and what it's like to be the father of someone who is gay. I think they're dying for curiosity. The majority of people, not everyone. Other people kind of shut up. But I'd say by far, the majority of people, oh, tell me more.
It is, I do love it when like a conversation sparks from it, rather than people just being like,
oh, okay, well, let's go talk about something
That's
else.
The better. Yeah.
What else do you want to know?
This is the majority of the questions I had. If you have anything for me.
I'm so glad we had this conversation, because literally we have not had 90% of these questions discussed.
No, we've never talked.
So this is live, uninterrupted, full right off the cuff. Thanks for having me do this.
Yeah, of course. Well, okay.
All right. Love you, son.
All right. Well, thanks, you guys.
See ya.